Pleased to have the opportunity to share with you today some of my reflections on Whitby School, both as a mom and as a teacher. As you know, I've had my kids here for the last 5 years, and for the last 4 years I've been able to be involved in educating all your children. I would like to begin by telling you a little bit about my own schooling to give you all a better sense of who I am, both as a mother and as an educator, and perhaps to shed a little light on why I feel the way I do about teaching and learning. I started kindergarten in a one-room school in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, which is in northern Canada. I spent my first 5 years in the classroom of 24 children ages 5 to 10 with one teacher, Mrs. Burke. Although she may not have known it, Mrs. Burke was running a very Montessori-like school. Older children coached younger ones, and at times, younger ones even coached older ones. We were expected to sweep up, wash the pots on Friday, which was hot dog day, water the classroom plants, and I remember one spring she had us out in the schoolyard varnishing the bookcases. We didn't have a lot of custodial support. Perhaps as a matter of survival more than pedagogy, Mrs. Burke allowed me and a couple of other kids to join the older children for reading and math on a regular basis. And in science and social studies, the whole group pursued together. And I think every child was really able to just take away what was accessible for them in each lesson. From my earliest days, I knew what it felt like to be needed and to contribute and to work hard. We moved to the mainland when I was 12, where I attended a much larger and in many ways a more typical school. But I carried the values of my first school inside me. Self-discipline, independence, resilience, the confidence to question and to say what I thought. Don't underestimate the power of these early years. It's not just elementary school, but it's the foundation. It's the emotional and social foundation that will support your child's future intellectual work. I was fortunate to be able to attend an IB high school. This was by far the most exciting learning I had ever known. We had a course called Theory of Knowledge, in which as 11th graders we were debating basic philosophical arguments, and we read a variety of essays that encouraged us to question our assumptions about ourselves and about other people. We IB kids felt special to be part of a greater global community of learners. When it was time to present our final European history projects, we knew they were being prepared to be sent to Switzerland for evaluation. An examiner from France arrived one morning to administer our oral exams in French. Teachers in London would read our Shakespeare essays. My friends and I, all 12 of us, so in that regard it was similar to Whitby. We prepared tirelessly and felt deeply rewarded by our accomplishments. I am certain I owe my opportunity to study at Harvard to my high school training. When I eventually became a teacher, I taught, both in public and in private settings, children from 2nd grade through 7th. Although each school had special qualities, I struggled to find a school that supported the perfect balance of social, emotional, and intellectual growth for its children. Schools that were overly focused on the social emotional piece risked sacrificing intellectual rigor. One inner city school that was primarily focused on academics risked losing the heart and soul of the child and thereby compromising their individuality and their intrinsic motivation. When I arrived at Whitby, I instantly recognized that this school had drawn on the wisdom of the one-room school, authentic learning taking place in close communities with children of mixed ages. And since my arrival 5 years ago, Whitby has gone on to become an international school, providing the kind of global perspective and transdisciplinary learning experiences that I found so intensely exciting in my high school years. Just as you have made this choice for your children, I knew this was the place for mine. I could see that this was a school in which children spoke freely, yet they clearly respected their teachers and their peers. They were self-directed, yet disciplined, confident but not arrogant, and above all else, they seemed to be thoroughly absorbed in their learning. And I found myself asking, how did these teachers find this perfect balance that I had not been able to find anywhere else? After 5 years of observation and happily collaboration, I think I can tell you what's in their recipe and what makes the Whitby graduate truly distinct. It may not surprise you to discover that great teachers and great mothers have a lot in common as they jointly embrace the amazing journey we call childhood. Whitby teachers, like you moms, nurture children in 3 different ways: emotionally, socially, and intellectually. From the tender toddler years through the tumultuous early teens, we support each child in developing a deep sense of self and building on it as the child matures. When I look out at all of you, I see that you are not merely reflections of one another, but you're all very different women who've come to us from a variety of cultures and backgrounds. And that each one of your children, because of that, brings something special and unique when they come to school every day. And as Whitby teachers strive to build communities in their classrooms, we do this knowing that every child is bringing something special to that community. As mothers, we want our children to be comfortable with themselves, to trust themselves, to be comfortable in their own skin. Sometimes this means embracing being different. It means developing determination, resilience, self-discipline, self-reliance, and the confidence to take risks. From the gentle negotiations that happen every day in our Stepping Stones classrooms to the robust discussions that distinguish our middle school, I have seen children blossom under the guidance of teachers who love them and know them well enough to set high expectations for them, showing them a glimpse of the potential that lies inside each one of them. In the earliest years, this means setting appropriate limits and kindly encouraging children to become self-reliant. When Nadia was in Stepping Stones, and I know parents of Stepping Stones children today will notice this too, I just marveled at her competence when she was in her own environment. She moved with purpose, she knew her routines, she even knew how to clean up after herself, which is more than she did at home. This year, as a 3rd year in the primary program, Nadia is clearly very proud of herself in her reading and writing and in her close friendships. In fact, she's developed a confidence and determination that just doesn't hinge on adult approval, and I think for some of you that has a double-edged sword. She's so well trained to do it herself that, and I swear to you, this is not made up, this really happened a few weeks ago, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say to all of you. I was out on the playground after school, and I saw her struggling with the gate to go into the little yard, and she and a friend trying to get the thing off the post. I said, "Girls, can I open that for you?" And Nadia right away said, "No, Mommy, if you did it, we wouldn't learn how." And I was like, oh, what can you, what more can you ask, from a 6-year-old? And as a teacher, I can tell you, I'm delighted every single day by that kind of determination that I see in all of our students. Self-discipline and determination. These qualities, when combined with a child's natural curiosity, are the ingredients you need to ignite an intellectual fire. The teachers in the lower elementary were ready to harness Andrew, this is my son, his curiosity when he arrived in the 1st year of LE. Although he did not yet have the self-discipline or the skills to execute all his ideas, he knew his questions would be heard, and he would be supported in looking for answers. In any other school, Andrew's persistent curiosity would probably have been perceived as a distraction or an annoyance. But at Whitby, because he knew his teachers would listen, he developed a great ability to express his ideas, sustain his queries, and record his observations. We all want our children to be able to speak without fear of judgment. We hope they will take the risk to say what they think and to think outside the box when the box is just too small to hold their big ideas.